So let's just start from your perspective. I've been following some of your social media posts the last 24 hours or so. What is your take on what's going on right now on the House floor from the Democratic perspective?
Well, first of all, it's very frustrating. The American people and our constituents sent us here to govern, and right now we are not able to do that because the Republican Party has not figured out. They have not figured out who their speaker is going to be. They've had several months. They have known they were going to be in the majority, and there could have been many, many conversations that have happened behind the scenes in order to prepare for January 3rd. And apparently, Kevin McCarthy has given many concessions to members of his party who wanted him to go further on certain issues. But now what we're seeing is dysfunction and a disrespect to the voters that sent members of that party here. And as a result of this, we just have to wait. There's been 6 votes. Hakeem Jeffries has gotten a majority of the votes each time. And until we have a speaker, we can't get sworn in. We can't get secure in our committee assignments. We don't know who the chairs of the committees are going to be, and we cannot make federal legislation. So it's really an embarrassment, I think, to Kevin McCarthy personally, but also to the party specifically, the Republican Party. And this is why so many are consistently frustrated with Washington not getting things done because of things like this.
Has there been any discussion, to your knowledge, from Republicans to the Democrats about trying to end this gridlock without having to go through this Freedom Caucus, the 20 holdouts? Is there any talks about trying to maybe get some concessions to the Democrats?
Not to my knowledge, but then we got to ask ourselves, I mean, should we help them? Like, should we try to work with them to help them solve a problem that they created on their own? This is a party that chose to align itself with Donald Trump, with QAnon, MAGA, white supremacist Republicans. They chose to do that. They chose to push the big lie. They chose to not certify the election results, which contributed to an insurrection. This is a party that has been in disarray for a number of years. And again, why should we help them fix their problem that they don't even quite understand how to fix themselves? We want to govern with them. We've tried to govern with them this past term. But again, they continue to vote against universal child care. They vote against a federal minimum wage. They vote against a woman's right to choose. They vote against a public health approach to public safety. So they haven't shown a willingness to govern. They've shown a willingness to create a theatrical display of dysfunction. And it helps with their donor base because, oligarchs love dysfunction because it empowers them and corporations to continue to create an economy that benefits the wealthy at the top while the rest of us continue to suffer.
What does it say about the Democratic Party that it's unified behind Congressman Jeffries? And I know that whether it was just conjecture or other things, that there were talks that at some point Democrats were getting tired of the games and talked about possibly leaving and lowering the threshold. But ultimately, Jeffries has been able to keep the party together in contrast to what's going on. What does that say about Democrats right now?
So I am incredibly proud to be a Democrat, particularly at this moment, because over the last couple of years, all you heard was this perception of division within the party. The left versus the right, the moderates versus the progressives, the squad versus everyone else. And what you see right now is everyone coming together in support of our speaker and our leader, Hakeem Jeffries. And that's why over the last couple of years, we've been able to move forward on historic legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act, like the American Rescue Plan, and even bipartisan legislation like the CHIPS Act, the Infrastructure Bill, and the Safer Communities Act. So Democrats are here to govern, and we're here to govern for the American people, and we're more representative of the American people because the American people are diverse. Not just culturally and racially and ethnically and economically, but in terms of our ideas. And that may look different on the outside when people talk about us looking divided, but actually it's what the country is. And again, we're serious about governing. They are not. And this is a clear display of that.
And last thing for me, I know obviously you have a busy evening. Just while I have you, any thoughts on your priorities for 2023? I know we've talked about it heading into election season, but now as you at some point will get sworn back in, any thoughts on what you're hoping to achieve?
Absolutely. So the issue of inequality and people actually affording to live is still a major issue. People are still struggling to earn a prevailing wage, to afford affordable housing. Access to education and healthcare, and particularly childcare, is a big issue. So these are the issues we are going to continue to focus on, as well as climate issues, education issues, and issues related to racial and gender discrimination and bias. Because when you look at still the level of inequality between African Americans, Latinos, and whites, it's still way too large. And when you look at the attack on women's rights, not just the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but equal pay for equal work and paid leave, childcare, and other issues, we're going to still be fighting for those things as well.
I appreciate the time, Congressman. Anything else while I had you? Did I miss anything?
No, great to be with you. Looking forward to seeing you in the district. And we are still fighting for climate justice as well, because we have to end our dependency on fossil fuels and bring down our damn utility costs.
Thank you, as always.